Today's episode is dedicated completely to learning how to use a bait cast reel. Hey, whether you're an experienced angler or a newcomer to the sport, all of us at one time or another have been frustrated either due to overruns or backlashes, whatever you want to call them. They've either shortened or completely ended our fishing day. Today, I'm going to go over everything you need to know to become more proficient with a bait cast reel. It's going to make you a better angler. This is all about the bait cast reel, and this is Hook and Hunt TV.
We're now south I-55. We're gonna take a little scenic drive down Interstate 49. We're just looking for a good time. Better buy another case of beer, 'cause you know you're gonna need it here. Time to go.
Friends and family, feathers and fins, Northwest Ontario's #1 destination for walleye, muskie, northern and bass. You can't do it better than Fin and Feather. Prairie Grove Shotgun Sports, Columbia, Missouri's premier shooting facility to improve your skills with the widest range of disciplines in the Midwest. Shooting fun for the entire family. The official clay crushing club of Hook and Hunt TV. When you first start learning to use a bait cast reel, you're going to want to use the right rod and reel combination. And I've always said that my favorite rod for learning how to use a bait cast reel is a 6.6 medium. Why? Because the 6.6 medium does a little bit of everything. The rod also loads really, really good. And we're going to show you that a little bit more close up as we get into this. But I want a rod that has more of a parabolic action throughout the entire length of the rod, as you can see right there. That's going to help that rod load, because what some people don't realize when you're using a bait cast rod and reel is that you don't throw the lure. The rod does. So I use a 6.6 medium action reel right here. This happens to be a Garcia Veritas, and I'm using an Abu Garcia Revo SX. You know what? It's a very economical combination to start with. Whatever brand you decide to use, the proper way of learning how to cast it is what we're going to cover, and you're going to see that coming up next. Okay, two things that I want to go over with you. If you're not going to be casting in your backyard, so you're actually going to be out on a body of water, I like using a lure that's not going to hang up a lot. So this happens, just a spinnerbait. This happens to be made by Angler Assets, got a great vibration to it. And you know what? I'm going to be more worried about my technique than hanging up with the lure. That's one reason that I'm using this. Now, line is also very important. And when you're learning to use a bait cast reel, or even if you just want to become better with it, I suggest braided line. I always use Suffix Performance Pro. And it's a round braided line, and I put that on the reel in case I do get a backlash. What's going to happen there is with the Suffix, it's coated. I'm going to be able to dig it out a lot easier, pull it out, whereas monofilament, well, we all know what happens there. You're going to end up with a lot more backlash. It's going to dig deeper into the reel, and it's going to get really frustrating. Start with braided line, start with a lure that doesn't hang up a lot, and then start with that 6.6 medium action rod like I described earlier, and you're going to be off to a good start. And now it's time for your Nord Outdoor Power Tip of the Week.
Hey, Doug from Nord Outdoor Power here. I'm here to talk to you about generators today. You guys love the outdoors and we love the outdoors, and one of the things we don't like is a lot of noise. You're going to have generators like this. They're more of your home standby type you pull up in a job you're working outside around the house. They're going to be much louder. When we go out into the country and we want to enjoy the peace and quiet, but we need some power, these generators from Bearcat are extremely quiet and they produce very clean power. So if you need to run a computer or something like that, you can do it. Make sure and stop in. We got sales and service on both the Kohlers and the Bearcats, and we can help you pick out the best generator for your application at Nord Outdoor Power.
And that was your Nord Outdoor Power Tip of the Week. Hook up with our outdoor power source at nordpower.com. One mistake that a lot of anglers make is they never fill the spool high enough with the amount of line. I like to leave my line about 1/8 of an inch below the top of the spool. That's going to give me the true gear ratio of the reel that I have. This one happens to be a 6:4:1. That's really, really important. You're going to be able to make farther casts and be more accurate when the spool is filled the way that it's supposed to be filled, and that's going to be about 1/8 of an inch to the top. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do after that is you have a magnetic cast control that's going to slow or speed up the spool. The first thing you want to do when you're learning to cast this bait cast reel is turn this completely to 0. You want those magnetic brakes completely off. That's very, very important and the first step in becoming successful with a bait cast reel. The next thing that you're going to want to look at is a casting control, and that will always be located on your baitcast reel behind the star drag. I'm going to tighten that up first. Now, after you look down the rod here, you're going to see my lure hanging off the end of the rod. To adjust this, now that I've tightened up that dial on the side there, I'm going to depress the thumb bar. And if you notice, the line does not drop, nor does the lure come out. Now I'm going to start backing it off until the lure just starts to drop. Perfect. Now I'm going to engage the reel, and the next step that I do is I'm going to take the cast control, or the magnetic brake right here, and I'm going to turn that up to 5. That's halfway in your setting between 0 and 10, and that's going to be the perfect place to start. It's going to be the perfect place to learn for you to be able to have more control over your reel. Bite Me Sport Fishing, Venice, Louisiana's premier fishing experience. Tuna, redfish, snapper, sharks, and more. Fish in comfort from their 29-foot Triton offshore fishing machine. The adventure of your lifetime starts now. Call 877-904-TUNA or hook up with them at BiteMeSportFishingVenice.com. And why haven't you booked a trip with Bite Me Sport Fishing? You better. All right, the number one reason, that people have problems with a baitcast reel, and I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands of people across the country that have been really frustrated by this. And every single person that's ever had a problem with a baitcast reel, I've asked them, hey, how do you hold a baitcast reel? And they always show me just like this. Okay, now when you go to cast like this, I want you to watch what happens with my arm. Remember something, the strongest part of our body as an angler, it's our center point right here. And the farther your arm gets away from your body, your wrist and your forearm, the weaker we actually are when we go to make a cast. So, if your wrist is in this position and you go back the way the good Lord made us, your wrist stops here. If it stops right here, what happens to most of you? And I know what the answer is going to be. The lure has a tendency to wrap around the rod tip. So when you do that, then you try to go quickly, your arm comes away from your body and you're not casting. You're forcing, trying to get the bait out there. What happens? The lure shoots directly toward the water at about a 45-degree angle. The line speed overrides the first eyelet right here. Your thumb in this position almost automatically comes off the reel. That line hits there, the lure hits the water, and you get a bird's nest an eagle be proud of. So now I'm going to show you how to get rid of that and how to be a lot better with a baitcast reel. Just like in baseball or in golf, you have to swing and follow through. With a baitcast rod and reel, you have to do the same thing. And to be able to do that, you keep your arm closer to your body, and you have to have full range of motion. How do you do that? Watch this. I'm going to roll my wrist over. By rolling my wrist over, I can now let the rod load, and the rod is what throws the lure. I also have full range of my wrist, and notice where my thumb is. It stays on the reel. I want you to remember something, all of you. No matter how much you pay for a baitcast reel, nothing, no price, is ever going to control that spool like your thumb does. And in this position, your thumb has a lot more control over the reel than it does here, because your wrist can do the full motion. Now, if you watch back up, if you're looking at this straight on like you are, this would be the 10 and 11 o'clock position. Back behind me would be 1 and 2. I want you to watch when the rod comes back to the 1 and 2 o'clock position and watch what happens with the rod. Now if you notice, with my wrist rolled over, now when the rod comes back to that 1 or 2 o'clock position, you'll notice that it flexes or it loads. That's what throws the lure, not you. Power does not get you distance. The speed of the rod tip moving in this position is what gets you your distance. Now I'm going to make a cast and I'll show you. It's going to be one complete motion. To press the thumb bar, I'm going to go back to that 2 o'clock position, let the rod load, cast, and follow through. Notice where my thumb is, okay? Now, what I'm also going to show is have my cameraman show you is how far this cast was actually made with very little effort. It's supposed to be fun, folks, not hard work. Once you roll your wrist over, you're going to be able to cast farther with less effort. Watch. Just like that. That's quite a distance on that cast, and I made no effort whatsoever. Rolling your wrist over and keeping your thumb on that reel, that's the key to throwing a bait caster. Now, I'll be honest with you, I know what a lot of you are going to do, especially the guys. You're going to go home, and the first thing you're going to go out to your yard, first thing you're going to do is you're going to try to do it as hard as you can. That lure is going to hit the water because you let the lure go here instead of doing a cast and follow through, and you're going to have even a bigger backlash. Remember something, power is not important. The speed of the rod tip is. Start out slow. You have to learn to walk before you can run. Hey, when we're on the road, we are officially hauled by Illinois Trailer Sales. Hitch up with them at IllinoisTrailersales.com. People ask me why I use Jeb's chokes on all my shotguns. Let me think about that. For your own world record setting performance, use the same choke tubes we do, and you will be as successful as we are. Kill him, kill him. Good. Nice shot, boys. Spectre Shot colored ammunition. Know who got him, take him with Spectre Shot. Now, as a right-handed caster, remember that the reel handles should be up when your wrist is rolled over. Now, if you're a left-handed angler, like I am, the reel handles are going to be down as your wrist is rolled over. Also, when your wrist is rolled over, you can actually get a better grip on the reel and the trigger right here and get more control over your rod and reel. Rolling your wrist over does so many more things, but I want you to remember that being a level wind reel, the reel works better this way than it does this way. So rolling your wrist over, whether you're left or right-hander, is not only a benefit to you and your casting, it's actually how the reel's supposed to work in the first place. Everything we went over today should, without question, make you more proficient with a bait caster. Hey, it's going to take practice, and you're going to have to do it over and over again. But you take everything that I showed you today, I have no doubt that you will become a lot better with a bait caster. In the long run, it's going to make you a much more proficient and consistent angler. You should be able to use both bait casting and spinning reels if you want to cover the wide array of techniques that are going to help you be a more consistent angler. Don't be afraid of a bait cast reel, just learn how to use it. And today, with the information we showed you, you will. Hey, please, before you leave today, please check out all the sponsors that help bring hookandhunttv.com to you each and every week. They're right there on the main page of hookandhunttv.com. You can also join us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Hey, without you, we wouldn't have a show. I'm so thankful that, again, you joined us today. God bless you. For hookandhunttv.com, I'm Jim CROWLEY. We'll see you next week.